It's a great story, Dr. Green. Online, can you hear us? Ms. Downer, are you able to hear?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. So good evening and welcome to the Board of Education regular meeting. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025. I call this meeting to order, and we will first have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Dr. Joyner to lead us.
We all stand.
Thank you very much. For public participation, so welcome to the Board of Education regular meeting. Regular meetings are a time for the board to conduct its business. As a Board of Education, we are here to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. The board may hear public participation for up to 60 minutes. Public participation shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. One speaker cannot yield their time to another speaker. There will be no responses this evening to any questions or concerns raised. They will be referred to the administration for review. As adults, we serve as positive role models for our students. Please be respectful of people. We ask speakers not to make defamatory comments or use abusive or vulgar language. We will also go between our online participants who would like to make public comments and those who are here in person. So thank you for coming. Maybe we can begin online. Thank you.
Our first speaker is Sophie Lafargue. Ms. Lafargue has been promoted.
Hello?
To speak now.
Oh, sorry, I'm just making sure that you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm raising an issue here that we have raised in the past, and board members should have received an email from the PTA board at Worthington Hooker School. Our concern has been that we learned last fall that both our school leadership administrators were to be moved. Since then, based on our advocacy, and we're grateful that Dr. Negron did come to the school to meet with us as a community, the decision to move Ms. Gessings has been reversed. However, our vice principal is still scheduled to be moved. We've tried for several months now to get some answers as to why that might be. And I understand everyone here is dedicated to our school community and is busy, but this is an extremely important issue, as you can imagine. So we're hoping that the decision to move Ms. Clarino can be reversed. This is this school leadership is critical to the success of our teachers, and that is obviously critical to the success of our students. We're hoping to also get a better understanding, and we've been asking for this, as to why this decision was made. Had it gone the way that it was to have gone, we would have lost at least one, if not both administrators before the end of the school year. And that's quite the opposite of what research tells us about what it takes for students to be successful and for teachers to have the support they need. It's quite disruptive. So we're still hoping to get some answers. What is the basis for this plan? Why is it happening? Can we get a reversal if we can't get answers? I have several other questions that I'll just pose here in my remaining minute, but is the shuffling of school leadership accepted by the board as good practice for the advancement of our children, despite the fact that research says that such shuffling should be considered very, very carefully? I'm not just concerned about Hooker, I'm concerned about, this affects obviously all the schools because everyone, loses an administrator and then takes time to get one set up. Can we get public disclosure of the reasoning if that is an accepted practice? We also know that teachers are deeply affected when this shuffling happens. Has that been considered, not just in the case for Hooker, but for the other schools that will be affected? And we have not gotten any word that the other schools have the benefit of being aware like we do. Those are really crucial questions, and I would love to be able to get an answer because we've been unable to get answers despite our cry from elected officials
time.
and the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Carlin Mason online. Ms. Benson, you can go ahead and speak. Carlin Manson. Carlin Manson.
You're currently muted.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. Can you hear me now?
We can hear
Yes.
you now.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your service to New Haven Public School System. Dear Dr. Negron and New Haven Board of Education, I'm reaching out regarding the district's plan to transfer our beloved assistant principal, Jenny Clarino. As a 35-year veteran of New Haven Public Schools, I've endured many budget crises, and I have been directly and deeply impacted by them. It is during these times that consistent leadership is vital to each school. There are difficult decisions to be made, and ultimately there will be people at every level who will feel the impact of the cuts. I believe that while this may be necessary, there are other decisions that could be made that can help minimize the harmful impact of the budget and staff cuts. Keeping administrators and support staff in place for stability and guidance to the staff members, who will undoubtedly feel the impact of the impending cuts, would be wise for many reasons. Maintaining leadership in buildings will stabilize the school and allow the community to continue with as many of the norms and customs of the school as possible, as well as the relationships administrators such as Mrs. Clarino has built with each and every student. I hope that the leadership of our school district makes choices based in the best interests of the children who are our future. Dr. Negron, you promised in your acceptance letter to build trusting and productive and collaborative working relationships with internal and external stakeholders, including students and parents and caregivers. In making this decision, which will hurt the Worthington Hooker school community by moving Mrs. Clarino, you have not spoken with any of the parents or young children who will be impacted. You declined several invitations from me, the SPMT chairperson, to join us for a conversation regarding this move, which has now been looming over our heads for 6 months. This is not how to build community, but rather destroys it. I'm very confused by this treatment. The SPMT was not the appropriate forum to use to address the situation back in October, as it is the decision-making body of the school. We come to consensus and use no-fault problem solving, and this does not feel at all like a decision which came out of an SPMT. We, the schools and the district, cannot operate under different standards. We must all be on the same page. And as someone who served as the director of early childhood for our own district, there's no doubt that you know how important consistency is for young children. In this post-pandemic decade, the need for consistency is heightened for this particular subsection of children whose families' lives were disrupted and stressed by the pandemic in their first and second year of life. Your decision to take Assistant Principal Clarino, an incredible educator and leader, away from our community threatens a major disruption to a positive and welcoming school culture that has been a lifeline for our students and families. It threatens the collaborative administrative team that Gethings and Clarino have built, vital to leading one school in
It's
two
time
separate.
now.
Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you'll reconsider moving Clarino from Worthington Hooker. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, thank you. Our next speaker is Ross and L. Martin. In person.
Awesome. My name is Lee Martin.
I'm Russ Martin.
We are parents of a lovely little girl who's about to go into third grade next year and
At Worthington Hooker
at
School.
Worthington Hooker School. And basically, we're here to advocate for Miss Clarino as well, that she stays with us at Worthington Hooker, not just for ourselves, but for our fellow parents and soon-to-be parents who are coming into Worthington Hooker for, you know, some very important reasons. So not only is Miss Clarino a wonderful asset to Worthington Hooker, but as a teacher myself from East Haven High School, I understand the consistency part of it, that it's very important to have consistency throughout the years that your students are in school. And we have that. We have our daughter has been one of the beneficiaries of that said consistency. And for my fellow future parents, we would like to see that for them as well. Did you want to speak to?
Yeah, well, basically, the lack of transparency when we first found out about this, to find out the reasons why, we've been asking, the whole PTA has been asking since November. Like, what is the rationale? What is the reason behind this? And we have not gotten an answer. We said, well, the decision's been made, but why has the decision been made? And we can't figure it out amongst ourselves. We've been discussing, and we can't find the logic between, you got a school system that doesn't have the greatest reputation, with one or two golden exceptions, Worthington Hooker being one of them. How does that improve the New Haven school system as a whole to make Worthington Hooker worse? On the hopes that maybe by taking some good part of that, it might make another school better. But, you know, it's going to take 2 or 3 years for Worthington Hooker, if you take one of the key components out, at least 2 or 3 years while my kid is still there, for them to have to get themselves back to hopefully be as good as they are right now. And they've done nothing to warrant any type of penalty or punishment that I can tell. But for some reason, they decided to, without consulting us, without giving us rationale, to take a key component of this school and move it somewhere else. And if there is good rationale, we'd love to hear it, but we don't know why no one's telling us.
And I would argue that the population is like the importance of keeping consistency with a population and having a good fit is also super important. So wherever she may go, we don't know if she'll fit as well as she fits at Worthington Hooker. I know we know personally that she fits very well at Worthington Hooker. I mean, she knew my daughter in full costume, like she could recognize us as parents, and that's super important to parents and super important among the teachers as well that live there, that work there. Especially with work, yeah.
That's time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Teresa Forty.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Purdy. I'm a teacher at Cooperative Arts School here in New Haven. I'm here this evening speaking on behalf of concerned cooperative arts stakeholders regarding the lack of air conditioning in our building. This, along with not being able to open any windows at co-op, is creating an unhealthy environment for all students and staff. Room temperatures are already reaching in the mid-80s and low 90s. Furthermore, due to the nature of co-op's theme, a performing arts school, there are potential high costs risks to equipment, including soundboards, lighting consoles, computers, and musical instruments. The financial implications of these risks are significant and cannot be overlooked. As outlined in recent updates from school leadership, the air conditioning unit has been assessed and the necessary replacement parts have been approved. However, they will not be delivered and installed for at least another 10 to 14 weeks, well after the current school year ends. At best, these repairs will be made in mid-July. The concerned co-op stakeholders are asking for two things. Number one, safe temperature guidelines. We request clarity on the acceptable indoor temperature range for school buildings in New Haven. Ensuring that classrooms remain at safe and comfortable temperatures is critical for learning and working conditions. Number two, a plan for students and staff when indoor temperatures exceed the guidelines. We request that New Haven Public Schools provide a plan of action that includes measures NHPS will take to ensure the health and safety of our staff and students. We would appreciate a clear communication about these steps for all our stakeholders, which includes the teachers, the students, and the parents. We would like to express our sincere gratitude for the transparency and updates shared by our school administration at recent SPMT committee meetings. These updates have provided valuable insight and assessment to the HVAC repairs. Our primary concern is ensuring that co-op remains safe and healthy environment. And in conclusion, we need NHPS to continue prioritizing this issue and addressing our concerns promptly. Thank you for your time.
I just wanted to add that my name is Cindy J. Cadet, and I'm also I'm a parent over at
Real time.
co-op, and the safety concerns of exacerbating my daughter's asthma and stuff like that is really concerning. And
That is time.
we get a parent link asking about attendance, but how are kids supposed to go into a school like that and be hot and be expected to concentrate when it's too hot? So I think that we really need to make this a top priority and make sure that our kids and the staff are safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Katie Yates.
Hello, I'm Katie Yates. I'm a Worthington Hooker mom and a cross mom, a soccer mom, cross mom of a Wilbur Cross student. I also am a teacher at co-op, and I grew up going to a lot of different kinds of schools. I went to schools in Bamako, Mali. I went to schools on Air Force bases. I went to schools in New Delhi. And so I'm used to being really hot, like extremely, extremely hot. However, these were schools where we could open the windows, and there was some expectation that, kids knew that we were living on the equator and it was going to be hot. But now I find myself using these skills very well to tolerate humid and sort of very uncomfortable temperatures with my students. But I'm in the United States and I'm in a city where I pay taxes in order to live here and work here. And I think it would be helpful for us to share with our students that we care about them and their ability to focus. And we want them to come to school. We don't want them to go home because they're too hot. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gillian Lynch.
Good evening. My name is Jillian Greco Lynch, and I am the general music teacher at Nathan Hale School. I have spent my entire 13-year teaching career here in New Haven. I want to begin by addressing the central issue, which is that we need the state of Connecticut to fully fund education, adjust the fiscal guardrails, and revise the educational cost-sharing formula. My colleagues and I have been contacting our state representatives, senators, and Governor Lamont. If you are listening to this now and have not done the same, I urge you to do so. In light of this, I must address the idea of laying off 125 student-facing employees. This will have detrimental effects on our students. I can summarize with a single personal example. We have a student this year at Nathan Hale that is chronically absent, one of, I'm sure, many that you know. But there was a very clear pattern of behavior that the grade level team realized. This student came to school on days she had my chorus class. The arts were this student's positive connection to school. This is just one of my stories. Multiply that by the number of teachers and paraeducators you are proposing to lay off. In the event of a worst case scenario, we cannot have student-facing staff be the cuts we make in the district first. Saying that there is not one central office position that can be cut makes teachers and paraeducators feel devalued in the light of the challenges we face. If the district is to make cuts, it must be from the top first. This will create discomfort, surely. However, in this situation, central office must feel the discomfort that we already currently feel as teachers. We already feel the discomfort of telling a parent that we have not had a language pathologist since December, so their student is not receiving services. We already feel discomfort when we use money from our own pockets to give kids hands-on experiences in the classroom that would they not otherwise have. We already feel discomfort when our building temperatures exceed 80 degrees and it's only April, or when our adult bathroom doors do not lock or do not have toilet paper in them. I acknowledge that this is not an easy time in education, but I do implore the board to find non-school, non-student facing cuts before all else because our students depend on it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ashley Stockton.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Stockton. I'm a teacher at Truman School. I'm a parent at Wilbur Cross. I'm a parent at Sound School, and my partner is a teacher at Metropolitan Business Academy. My comments are directly for you, board members. Good evening. In 2021, you voted to approve a district spokesperson position with a starting salary of $119,000. In 2022, you voted to create a Director of Professional Learning and Leadership Development position starting at $172,000. In 2023, you voted to create a second Supervisor of Reading position, doubling the number of reading supervisors starting at $167,000. In 2024, you voted to pay Assistant Superintendent positions $179,000 for the next 2 years. And you voted for a recruitment and retention coordinator salary of $146,000, a 46% increase from the $100,000 salary this position paid when it was created in 2018. This board voted to approve these positions and these salaries with little to no discussion. Tonight, you will vote on a proposed $170,000 starting salary for the CFO position and discuss 2 assistant superintendent positions. Some of these positions may be essential, but it is beyond clear that some are not. Though these jobs may be filled by well-liked people who you believe should be well compensated, some of these positions and salaries need to be eliminated now. I will remind you that in 2018, NHPS cut library media specialists and school counselor positions in order to cut costs, doubling the workload for librarians and counselors who were not laid off. I'll also remind you that in school year 2021, New Haven public school teachers and HFP members agreed to a salary freeze and did not take a raise in order to support the district's budget mitigation efforts. Administrators and management did not take a freeze. History matters. Before a single cut is made to arts, athletics, libraries, or to any student-facing position, such as classroom teachers, paraeducators, and athletic coaches, we expect to see cuts to central office positions and freezes applied to administrative and management salaries. We expect you to ask questions before voting to approve non-student-facing and non-school personnel salaries and hires. You asked us to support your request for funds from the governor, and we have. We've supported you. Now we ask you to center our children's experience as the absolute priority of this school district. A well-staffed central office that supervises shuttered libraries, closed art studios, and empty athletic fields is not an acceptable option for our children. Finally, I want to say that multiple things can be true at the same time. The state needs to adjust the fiscal guardrails, and New Haven Public School needs to improve
is
stewardship of funding and resources. And this board needs to improve your fiduciary functioning and financial oversight. Schools and classrooms continuously do more with less. Central office must too. Thank you.
We have some online speakers we're gonna turn to now. Next up would be Leslie Blateau. Ms. Blateau, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ms. Camacho. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry that I cannot be there in person tonight as our community is coming together to say out loud and to this board what our kids need. I want to take a moment tonight to recognize the ongoing advocacy and effort of the New Haven Federation of Teachers as we continue to fight for fully funded and fully staffed schools. Just want to give you a couple examples of what some of our members have been doing in their non-paid time. One of our members at Truman School wrote out individual postcards to Governor Lamont, because we know Governor Lamont is one of the obstacles to our progress for fully funded schools, so that all of the members at her school could take those postcards, read those postcards, put a personalized message on them, sign them, and send them to the governor to say, we are no longer accepting the reality of the two Connecticuts. We believe that in a state as wealthy as Connecticut, we should be able to fund and staff our schools. We have another member who's an incredible organizer at Dr. Mayo's school. She took plants out of her own garden and has individualized plants ready for the taking and sent an email to her colleagues. Hey, before you leave school today, come by my room and get a plant. They came by her room to get a plant, and she said, please call your state representative. Please call your state senator. Please remind them what's at stake here when we're thinking about our students, when we're thinking about our students' fundamental right to access a library, when we think about our students' fundamental right to enjoy the arts and music and theater. I could go on and on about these examples of our members doing more work. Again, one of our teachers' main issues is we want to do the job we've been hired to do. We want to be able to teach our kids. We want to be able to build relationships with students and families. And we want to be able to deliver the world-class education that our students deserve. So we will continue our advocacy along with leaders in New Haven Public Schools, along with our students who are fighting this fight. But we're going to need to see more of the Board of Ed show up, more of our fellow workers in New Haven Public Schools show up, because this is about what our kids deserve. And again, I want to restate that if there are any cuts, they must start at the top of the organization before we are proposing that our students will no longer have library, art, and music in their schools. Let's stick together on this, and let's make sure we keep the kids at the center of our work. Thank you for the time, and let's get this together, New Haven.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Sequela Coleman. I just lost Sequela. Did I? Okay, I just somehow lost her. She jumped off, so should she come back, we can go back to her. Our next speaker in person is Eric March.
Thank you, Dr. Negron and the board for taking public comment. My name is Eric March. I'm a parent at Worthington Hooker School. I have a boy in 3rd grade and a boy in 6th grade. We've been very happy with our experience at Hooker so far, due in large part to the wonderful teachers, of course, and the success of the administration, including Vice Principal Clarino. We recently learned that, of course, the plan was to move her to a different school, and based on the lack of information provided to date on how the relocation of Clarino fits into a strategic plan that has not been revealed to us publicly, it's hard to understand how this leadership removal will not be disruptive to the Worthington Hooker staff and students. Our family has already experienced entering a previous school following a similar removal of strong leadership to another school in the district. The staff and the culture at that school were very clearly in transition in such a way that often made things confusing for us as a new family to that school. If there are problems with the current administration team at Worthington Hooker, we would appreciate there being full transparency and asked Dr. Negron and the Board of Ed to communicate clearly with both the Worthington Hooker community as well as the district at large as to what those issues are. Also, if there is a strategic plan and measures being put in place to counter the disruption that follows when you have a change in leadership, like what happened at our previous school and what is being planned here, that would be great to hear as well. I recently learned about the budget cuts heading our way, and I also want to say that the librarian at Hooker is well beloved, and the music program at Hooker is also very important to our family, and it would be a shame if either of those positions had to be cut due to these budget cuts. So I do encourage all of us to stand together on this and advocate for our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Stephen Fasano.
Good evening, Dr. Negron and board members. My name is Stephen Fasano, and I am a passionate music educator and proud member of the NHFT. I stand here to address a crucial issue: the harmful education cuts that threaten our city and, most importantly, our students. The recent decision to reduce funding for arts and sports programs in our district is simply unacceptable. A comprehensive education must include musical and artistic literacy. This is not just my belief, it is the fundamental principle championed by the National Association of Music Education. Every student deserves the enriching opportunity to engage in music regardless of their backgrounds or abilities. Music education must be held in as high esteem as math, reading, and science. It is vital that students in New Haven receive equal access to music education. I urge us to engage in meaningful discussions about how we can strategically utilize state funds to enhance music and arts programs rather than resorting to cuts that eliminate dedicated teachers. These reductions are detrimental and only widen the disparities we aim to overcome. We must take to revise the educational cost sharing formula to include a 50% weight for students with special education needs. NHFT has been doing its part to advocate for this funding, and we need the Board of Education and the community to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kim Rogers.
Good evening. My name is Kim Rogers, and I am the lead librarian for New Haven Public Schools. I am a proud member of NHFT 933. I am a 39-year resident of New Haven and proudly am part of Ward 25. I'm here tonight to say this as clearly as I can. Cutting library media specialists and classroom-facing teacher is not a budget decision. It is a betrayal of our students and everything this district stands for. Librarians aren't extras. We aren't luxuries. We are teachers. We are partners to every classroom. We are literacy leaders, and we are critical to the basic function of the school day. Often our librarians have a fixed schedule, which allow teachers their required prep time. Take us away and you are tearing holes in the very fabric of school operations. More than that, you are stripping students of their best chances to succeed in the complicated digital world. Today's kids are flooded with information from every direction. You know that because you've invested a lot of money in yonder pouches. If they don't learn how to research, if they don't learn how to fact check, how to think critically, they will be lost. And no test score, no initiative, no reform will fix that once it's broken. If New Haven truly believes in literacy as our priority, if we mean it when we say every student deserves a chance to grow, then cutting libraries is not an option. You don't strengthen literacy by closing libraries. You don't grow community by laying off the very people who build it every single day. Your teachers. I am asking you to be bold. Use every tool we have, student surveys, parent forums, community partnerships, to look for real solutions. Trust the people who love and serve the schools. Invite creativity instead of resorting to cuts that will cause lasting damage. And everyone here and everyone listening, call your legislators, email them, march in our rally on Thursday, go to our Board of Alders on Wednesday, tell them to support Senate Bill 1511. Tell them to refuse to let New Haven kids pay the price for a broken funding system that was never built to help the city like ours succeed. Our students deserve more. And one final thought, if our librarians are paid with Alliance grant, and that grant is not being cut, then how are librarians being cut? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Melody Gallagher.
Good evening. My name is Melody Gallagher. I'm an 18-year veteran visual art teacher at Wilbur Cross and a New Haven resident of Ward 25. I won't take too much of your time, but I did want to come here tonight to say two things. Number one, arts education is not just about creating pretty pictures or performing on stage. It's about empowering students, improving their academic outcomes, and fostering a more equitable and inclusive society. Arts education matters for equity in education because it can bridge achievement gaps, offer new opportunities, and foster empathy. It can also improve academic outcomes, civic engagement, and school climate, particularly for students from low-income backgrounds or marginalized communities. All this can happen with a dedication to robust programming for arts education. The arts are not simply a prep period for others or an afterthought. Cutting 29 arts educators from NHPS will have a direct impact on each and every student. The arts are one of the few places where students are expected to think critically and problem solve on a daily basis, where they do not focus on rote learning or test prep. These are skills students take anywhere they go, and cutting 29 arts teachers will not allow for robust programming in the arts in NHPS, nor a full education focused on the whole child for every NHPS student. I honestly could go on. And if anyone would like to have a more in-depth discussion about the arts in NHPS, what it could and should look like, and why it matters, please reach out to me directly. I sincerely hope to hear from you. Number 2, personally, I've been working towards ensuring fully funding for NHPS for a while now, and many of you in this room know that. It's exhausting, but it matters. Most recently, I wrote to my state senator and state representative about revising the ECS formula and adding a 50% weight to special education. I need assurance that you, yes, you, everyone on the board, I need assurance that you, as elected and appointed representatives, have done the same. What you have in front of you is my letter that I wrote. And if you are here tonight, I'm going to assume good intentions and that you care about the future of New Haven and our students. The chronic underfunding of districts like ours in Connecticut has to end. This time is now to take action, and I look forward to your letter and for your outreach to the state to be made public for all of us to see. Last, I'd like to just tell a little story which relates to funding. It did not make it into my letter. My classroom flooded earlier last week. It had me in tears. I lost over $1,200 worth of supplies that I fundraised myself. The rooms upstairs lost over $5,000 worth of materials. This isn't sustainable. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Miss Jenny Graves.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Graves. I've been a teacher in New Haven for 15 years. I'm Vice President of New Haven Federation of Teachers. It's not over till it's over. And that's what I keep telling our NHFT members who've been calling and messaging nonstop since Dr. Negron's budget mitigation plan dropped last Thursday. We have 6 weeks left to flood the legislator and the governor's office with one clear demand: amend the fiscal guardrails. Add a 50% weight for special education to the ECS formula. We know the truth. The state has the money. And we know the truth that Yale has the money. Yale's endowment makes $7 million a day in interest while our schools around this city are crumbling. We know it, and NHFT has been fighting for economic justice for every single one of our students. And I will be very clear, we cannot accept cuts that gut our schools and harm our kids. NHFT members have paid the price for this district shortfalls over and over again. In 2018, librarians and counselors were cut to cut costs. 2020, we took a pay freeze to fix the $5 million budget deficit for this board. Our schools continue to ration everything from copy paper to toilet paper. Last year's right sizing ripped teachers from their beloved school communities, and class sizes increased to the max. We are constantly asked to do more with less, and the expectations only grow. And when we fall short, we get penalized. At some point, the district decided that there were specific roles and responsibilities for an instructional coach, including teacher support, curriculum support, data analysis, testing, scheduling, testing support, etc. If the district cuts those NHFT members, then it is saying that they don't need that work done anymore, because classroom teachers will not pick up the work of our missing coaches. Sell Worcester Place. Those 18 people need to be in our schools working directly with staff and kids, and not sitting in $1 million office while classrooms are needing support. Central office and all supervisors need to be in our schools too. We will have 40 empty libraries that they can use, since cutting 25 librarians means cutting them all. We will not have one librarian left. Arts and sports are essential because they help students build creativity, confidence, teamwork, and resilience, skills that they carry for
That
life.
is time.
They create connection, joy, and belonging, keeping kids engaged in school and pushing them to succeed beyond the classroom. Cutting them is not the plan, and that is not the path to excellence.
Thank you. Ms. Camacho, our hour will end at 6:40 p.m. So let's continue until then.
Okay, I'll let you know as soon as 6:40 hits. Next speaker is Ms. Trisha McGovern.
Good evening. My name is Patricia McGovern. I am the proud library media specialist here at John C. Daniels and a 29-year dedicated employee of New Haven Public Schools. I will be reading a statement tonight on behalf of a colleague who unfortunately could not attend. Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, and community members. My name is Christine Gilman, and I am the library media specialist at Career High School. This is my first year at Career, and I have found a wonderful community that engages with the library on a daily basis. Whether it's a student coming in to help with their capstone project, a student looking for something to read, or a faculty member meeting with me regarding a lesson, the library is a hub of activity throughout the day. As library media specialists, our jobs go well beyond books. We are teachers, technology leaders, and critical partners in helping students succeed. Every day, we equipped our students with the essential skills needed to navigate an increasingly complex digital world, from teaching research strategies and media literacy to fostering a lifelong love of reading. We are the frontline defense in teaching students how to find credible sources, think critically, and become informed citizens, which prepares them for college and beyond. Eliminating these positions may save dollars in the short term, but it will cost our students and faculty far more in the long run. Without certified specialists, New Haven risks widening the opportunity gap, especially for students who rely on the library as their gateway to learning, access to books, and academic support. A study from the School Library Journal found that students in schools with full-time certified librarians score 15 to 20% higher on reading and writing assessments compared to those without. In districts with library programs have been cut, test scores and graduation rates decline over time. We owe it to our students and to the future of New Haven to protect and invest in these vital positions. When I told a student today that there may not be a librarian next year, he stated, "The school will be worse than prison. At least prisons have libraries." If we believe in equity and literacy and preparing our students for the real world, then we must believe in saving our libraries. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ben Scudder.
Good evening, Board of Alders, Dr. Negron, Mayor Elker, our Board of Ed, thank you, sorry. My name is Ben Scudder. I'm a New Haven resident in Ward 9, and I teach history at high school in the community. I also am occasionally mistaken for Mayor Elker. I am a proud member of this city, proud teacher here, and I gotta say I was pretty shocked by the layoffs that were announced. I work in a school every day, beside amazing librarians and art teachers, and of course, besides hundreds of amazing students. I know that we need the state to amend the fiscal guardrails. I know we need them to amend the education cost share formula. I sure know we need Yale to kick in more of their $1 billion endowment. Okay, these are all true, absolutely. You've heard multiple folks here acknowledge that tonight. But I also know that cutting from classrooms in schools that are already understaffed is not the way to address our financial concerns. If we're worried about money, let's remember that central office positions are often equivalent to 2 or 3 classroom positions, right? These salaries are not all built the same. I also think it's really important to think about what this means for our kids. Librarians don't just pass out books, right? The librarian in my school is one of the reasons that our students are achieving such great things in competitions like National History Day. Our district loves to brag about this competition, but you remove the librarian and our students won't succeed anymore. Okay, our art teacher, we had multiple people talk about tonight. Arts isn't just painting pretty pictures, right? These teachers are the reason that our kids come to school oftentimes. If we're worried about attendance, let's not get rid of arts. The last thing that really jumped out to me about these layoffs, it sort of drove home this reality that the majority of this board isn't in a school building every day. I know our students are, but I think that that's maybe a little bit of where this comes from. Folks who are in schools every day have relationships with these people. Librarians, art teachers are sacred people in our buildings. They're the core of our buildings oftentimes. We can't function without them. So if we're saying that central office staff are necessary for our schools to function, well, so are these folks. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Karen Quinn.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Quinn. I am a certified LMS at HSC, former classroom teacher, and loyal to the district for 23 years. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Imagine walking into a school where students are expected to navigate a world full of information, but have no one to guide them. There is no one to teach them how to research, spot misinformation, think critically, or find their passion for learning. Library media specialists are not just book organizers. We are certified educators who equip students with skills they need for the rest of their lives. Any competitive school with high standards has a library with certified librarians. Imagine Yale getting rid of all their librarians. We teach digital literacy in a world where being able to evaluate information is a survival skill. We support technology integration, helping students to teach and teachers alike, keeping up with the fast demands of the modern world. If library media specialists are eliminated, the consequences are immediate and far-reaching. Along with decreasing reading scores, students will lose access to crucial skills at a time when misinformation spreads faster than the truth. Research is clear. Schools with certified library media specialists show higher reading scores. This is a fact. Higher graduation rates and better prepared students. This is what we are all striving for. But beyond the research, this is personal. I have seen firsthand what happens when students are given the tools and encouragement they need. 6 of our HSC students are moving on from the New Haven History Day competition to the State History Day competition, partly because they had access to a full-time librarian and obviously a great history teacher. Collaboration is powerful. We collaborate. We lose this when we lose LMS. The collective talent in the department is profound and has not been fully realized or appreciated. Let us be thought partners to help elevate the district. Please do not turn back the clock on our students' futures. If we truly believe in preparing our students for tomorrow, we must fight for their access to knowledge today. With respect, I ask on behalf of our students, teachers, and community to reconsider this decision. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Alicia Cook.
Let's start that way. Hello, my name is Alicia Cook, and I am a proud NHPS Library Media Specialist. I have given my whole life in service to New Haven Public Schools. I truly began my tenure at NHPS at Sound, where I spent 8 years working part-time while attending college. In 2007, I began my professional career as the LMS at Ross Woodward, where I grew my program for 16 years. Last year, I made the move to Sound, full circle, and I feel as if I've come home. My personal history with NHPS goes back even further than that, though. As an infant, my mother would keep me in a book cart under the stairs while in preparation for a new school year at the Old Hill Central building, where she was the first certified library media specialist. My childhood dinner time conversations revolved around NHPS, as my father was also a teacher at Hill House. And despite having eyes wide open with the highs and the lows, I chose to be a part of NHPS because I believe in our students and our mission. Eliminating our entire library media department would have devastating consequences to both the students and the teachers in New Haven. To put things in focus, LMSs are responsible for nearly $8.5 million diverse physical collection of materials representative of our communities and responsive to an ever-changing curriculum. By the way, this figure does not include our databases or ebook collections. And in a time when we are witnessing book banning, we are a safe harbor for our students' freedom to read and help maintain some measure of equity and access between New Haven and wealthier school districts. No wonder a full-time certified LMS and library media center is a component in school accreditations. And yes, students still do read books. At RW, I often circulated around 10,000 books a year. I didn't just check them out. I taught children how to find books. I conferenced with students to help them learn how to choose just right books. I helped them find genres and topics that interest them. I helped spark a love of reading. In a district often struggling with low reading scores, perhaps instead of eliminating librarians and libraries, we embrace, expand, and support them as the collaborative, cross-curricular institutions they can be. School libraries are not just for books either. I teach information literacy inclusive of digital sources too. This includes utilizing databases, primary sources, scientific papers, journals, and includes finding and evaluating resources, synthesizing information, and creating citations. If anything, with the rise of misinformation, social media, and AI, library media specialists are more essential than ever before. It's impossible to tell all the things I do in the 3 minutes allotted today, but I'll leave a quote from Fahrenheit 451, which is coincidentally the New Haven Festival of Arts and Ideas book this year. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them.
Our next speaker is Khalid Nouri.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Khalid.
My name is Dal.
We are here to speak on behavior of a group of students and a friend from Overcross High School about BioCity. BioCity is an amazing program run in New Haven. It's an incredible opportunity for students like us because it's allowed us to earn university credit and helps us pursue college degrees. Degrees like for many of us would otherwise be difficult to achieve. We have been working very hard these past 2 years in high school, doing our best to prepare ourselves for opportunity like this. When the program was announced this year, our teachers sent us the information and we all decided to apply. A meeting was set up at our high school, but to our surprise, we weren't included on the list of students invited. The reason we were given was that we hadn't complete Algebra 2. This was very surprising for us because nowhere in the program information was Algebra 2 listed as a requirement. Even so, we decided to attend the meeting with the science supervisor, and to our surprise, almost none of the students present, except one, had to take an Algebra 2 either. According to the district, Algebra 2 is normally taken in 11th grade. However, one of the stated requirement for the Bio-City program is to be in 10th grade. This means that realistically, only a handful of students from the just few specific schools in New Haven could meet both requirements. We believe this is not what Bio-City should be about. Bio-City should be about opening doors, not closing them. It should recognize the hard worker and potential of all students across New Haven, not limited opportunity based on that is where never clearly explained. We are asking for fairness, transparency, and a real chance to participate because all students and at every school deserve the opportunity to reach their fullest potential. Thank you for listening and thank you for considering how important this is.
That is time. Our next speaker is Eric Teasmore. Teasmore? I am so sorry. Thank you, Eric.
Greetings, my name is Eric Teichman. I'm the very proud band director at Wilbur Cross High School. This year marks my 19th teaching, my 6th at Cross. My wife and I have a 3-month-old son and 2 mortgages. Although I'm terrified at the prospect of losing my job after Dr. Negron's announcement that the current budget conditions would eliminate 29 arts positions alone, I'm not here to plead for it. Rather, I want to highlight the importance of the arts in our students' lives, education, and development through their own words and experiences, and urge this board to find alternatives to treating the arts as expendable by addressing this budget deficit through more equitable means. I share the following excerpts from student responses to a written reflective prompt in my band classes. As a member of band, I've set out to become more involved in my school community by working hard to make sure that I was prepared to perform at my very best and helping to make sure that other people in band were doing the same. I feel like I became more present in the school community through band. My feelings have changed from at first being nervous to now being calmer. I would tell my mom that I'm glad I stepped out of my comfort box and tried something new. I practiced the difficult parts in these pieces because I was determined to do my best. But what truly touched me was the way my bandmates thought of me as someone reliable. This moved my heart so much. Marching in the streets, looking all neat and uniformed felt cool, and I felt proud of being in a band, even more when the surrounding people would scream, "Yeah, Cross," or "I graduated class of '97." Things like that. Being loved and embraced by the community was really a rewarding experience. One moment I experienced this year was the parade when I saw my dad looking for me, and that made me want to cry because it was the first time I saw him doing something like that. I learned to face challenges and manage my own time, whether or not I have a full schedule, being responsible to prove myself that I can be independent. I observe in my peers, they try to help one another in any way possible. Anytime I need something, I don't hesitate to ask because I know they'll help me. I think it's important to ask my classmates if they need help or any way that I can give back to them. These actions impact me to do better as a teammate and musician. In the future, I'd love to experience that sense of accomplishment again, but I also want to be more adaptable in case things don't go as planned. Reflecting on this experience now, I realize how much it impacted my perspective on performing and being part of an ensemble. It reinforced the importance of dedication, teamwork, and the joy that comes from sharing music with others. My journey with band has been a transformative experience. And now my own words again. This coming Sunday in Waterbury, I will receive the honor of being named Connecticut's 2025 Outstanding High School Educator. Thank you. Though this is not a plea for my job or those of my equally deserving colleagues. This is to say that 34 pages of support in my nomination written by students, parents, alumni, and administrators don't just sing my praises. They recognize that the arts are where crucial connections are created, where determination develops, responsibility and resilience rise up, where passion plants its pennant, and where community convenes. We are vital to the mission of educating and caring for the whole child, and our work is indispensable. Let's not forget. What are the first programs that get called upon to represent New Haven Public Schools at community events like parades and even our own convocation? These deserve to be supported with adequate funding, not the first to be slashed away. Please find another way. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Chair, it is 6:39.
Thank you very much, and thank you. No. No. Sorry about that. No. I'm happy to listen to. I'm happy to listen to our students after the meeting. I can stay and listen to them. Or I can set up another time and listen to that. The next action item on the agenda, or the first action item on the agenda, is the approval of the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 Board of Ed meeting.
Move.
I move we approve the minutes.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve the minutes. Who was that? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will vote. Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
Ms. Cologne,
Yes.
Mr. Musser.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries. Next is the personnel report. Dr. Negron.
Good evening, Chair and Board of Ed members. Today before you, I have the personnel report. Before you move with approval, I do want to highlight a few retirements. There you will see Assistant Principal Tianco Ellison, who is retiring on June 30th. She has served in HPS for 23 years. We also have pre-K teacher, pre-kindergarten teacher, Kathy Barkin, who will retire on June 30th, 2025 after serving for 20 years. Special education teacher, Karen Labordna, who will retire also on June 30th. She has served her district for 27 years. Social studies teacher, Kathleen Mastriani, who will also retire on June 30th after serving for 21 years. Special education teacher, Michael Pantaleo, retiring as well on June 30th after serving for 26 years. And Raymond Pompano, physical education teacher, retiring on June 30th, 2025. You will also see on the personnel report that after our search, many of you are well aware that our CFO, Linda Hannons, after serving the district for decades, will be retiring. And tonight, we are excited to announce the selection of our next Chief Financial Officer. And I would like to read a few things about Mr. Hernandez before you proceed to take the board. Amilcar Hernandez was born and raised in Puerto Rico, where he attended public schools before moving to and graduating from high school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He earned a bachelor's degree in accounting and holds a master's in business education administration in organizational leadership from Southern New Hampshire University. Mr. Hernandez has been a longtime resident of Hartford, Connecticut, where he has worked for the last 21 years. He served Hartford Public Schools as a paraprofessional for almost 3 years and has worked for a youth development nonprofit organization for the last 18 years at various levels, inclusive of bookkeeper, senior accounting supervisor, and director of finance. As Director of Finance, Mr. Hernandez has gained extensive knowledge in accounting, financial management, data analysis, risk management, strategic thinking, and effective communication with diverse stakeholders. Through his community involvement as the Vice Chair of the Community NRZ and a member of the Executive Board for the CICD, Puerto Rican Parade for Greater Hartford, Mr. Hernandez earned recognition from community leaders, which led to his appointment to the City of Hartford Court of Common Council in April 2023. Later that year, in November, during municipal elections, he was elected by the residents of Hartford for a full 4-year term, which will conclude in December 2027. As a council person, due to his experience in fiscal management, he was selected by his peers to chair the Operations, Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee. Most recently, the Mayor of Hartford appointed Mr. Hernandez as the only elected official to participate in the City Blue Ribbon Commission on Education, in addition to his role on the Hartford Public Schools Legislative Task Force led by the Superintendent. Lastly, just a few days ago, Mr. Hernandez was notified that he was selected for this year's 100 Men of Color Award. Mr. Hernandez's experience with nonprofit and government funding has given him extensive knowledge of all fiscal-related public and private funding aspects. As a member of the Hartford Public Schools Legislative Task Force, Mr. Hernandez continues to advocate at the state level for increased funding and resources for urban school districts. With the opportunity to join the New Haven Public Schools, these efforts will only grow on behalf of our children and youth in New Haven. And with that, I ask for your approval of the personnel report.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the table?
Mr. Chair, I motion to approve the superintendent's personnel report.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Any discussion? Mr. Wilcox?
Yes, I'm just wanted to say I will be voting to approve these tonight, including the senior administrative position. I do think that the CFO is one of the most important positions in the district when we're dealing with such a large budget deficit issue in what looks like we hopefully can avoid Lamont layoffs, but we're going to definitely need to continue the expertise we've had at CFO with a new CFO that will be able to help us handle all these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Also want to acknowledge the staff members who are retiring. Thank you very much for your service in the district and all those you have touched. Thank you. Seeing no other discussion, we'll take a vote. Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Abstain.
Ms. Cologne?
Yes.
Mr. Musser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries. Next is the Finance and Operations Report. Mr. Wilcox?
May I-
Oh,
If I
I'm
may,
sorry. Yeah.
I would like to ask if it's okay with the board for Mr. Hernandez, who is here in person today, to say a few words.
Please. Thank you.
Well, I will keep it really short. Today I came in thinking that, this is gonna be, a great opportunity, a great experience for me, and it is. Coming from the public school system, I am one of those opportunity youth that so often we talk about in the 119K report. I am one of those youth that came through those same circumstances, and to be able to stand in front of you tonight and serve my community in this way, it's an amazing opportunity. But also today, I also leave with a little bit of that frustration that we felt earlier today, right? That desire to give more resources and to give more to our children. So I leave tonight with all of that on my back because that is going to be the task at hand. And I leave tonight not just thinking that the board approved my contract, which I am very grateful for, but more importantly, I leave tonight with a list of things and items that I have to now start focusing on, because my job will be to support the superintendent, support her vision, but also ultimately it is to make sure that our children achieve and get to see that promise of public school education. So, hearing everything that I heard tonight, it only serves as fuel for me to continue advocating on behalf of our children. And that's my commitment to the board. That's my commitment to the superintendent. That's my commitment to the community, that I will lead from the front lines. And that's my style. And I hope that I can be, I can make a difference with this great opportunity. Thank you to Ms. Hannens for the 54 years in the system. I look forward to spending, substantial time with you in the month of June, transitioning, absorbing your knowledge, getting to understand, the system as a whole. So I look forward to that time. And thank you to the superintendent and the committee that went through the process of hiring for entrusting in me this great responsibility. And thank you to the board.
Thank you very much. Next is our Finance and Operations Committee, Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you. Before I get started, just ask if there's anything anybody needs moved separately. I've already had one request for that, so there'll be several motions tonight.
Thank you. I had one in terms of the MOUs around data. And I think we have, are there any other requests?
Yes, I received some others, so.
Okay, so you don't need.
Yeah, so I'll move those separately.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So the MOUs as well. So first off, I'm going to make a motion for the 6 resolutions. We need to move these not individually, but separately as a group to meet the requirements of the funders. So first, I move that we approve the 6 resolutions that provide approvals to apply for and accept funding and grants from the Connecticut Department of Administrative Services Office of School Construction Grant Review for the construction projects listed on the agenda, and to execute, acknowledge, implement, and deliver any and all documents that may be deemed necessary or appropriate in connection with these matters.
I second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we can vote. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Ms. Cologne?
Yes.
Mr. Musser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well, so that motion carries.
Thank you. Next, I move that we approve item 6.03 in agreement with Artis Energy.
I second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we can vote. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Mr. President, I put my hand up.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Downer?
Discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So for this one, I guess I didn't get the memo from the FNO. But I know that we had a little discussion on this sole source on this one, and the sole source may have actually expired. So I don't know if that was ever corrected. I do know that I'm really not in favor of paying someone to tell me a light bulb and this and that. I mean, energy efficient buildings can provide healthier and comfortable conditions and environments in our school for our students and our staff. I believe that this is a waste of money. No one was able to say whether this energy intelligence program that we're paying close to over $250,000 each year has helped to optimize the performance of our heating, our ventilation, and our air conditioners, our HVAC systems, our lighting, or other energy. Replacing light bulbs and all this equipment that we have also consuming equipment that consumes energy, leading us to use it more efficiently. So I am not in agreement to paying for this if we don't have we have no substance to why we're doing this. So that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to get my opinion out there. That's just like paying someone 20 grand to replace light bulbs in your house. There's more to alternative energy than just doing that.
Thank you, Ms. Downer. Dr. Joyner?
I would think that an organization like this would have to give annual reports to the district regarding their work. And do we get annual reports? And do they provide early warning systems around our HVAC system and any other energy mechanics that we use? And if so, how has that been helpful?
Thank you. Is there a response from the district? Is there anyone available to address those questions? Mr. Wilcox? Okay.
I was just going to say, I mean, I recall from the meeting that it was reported there was about more than $700,000 in savings through their services last year. But unless this is time sensitive, I would support tabling this so that we can get the answers at next F&O and answer the board's questions, and also make sure that my colleague and fellow committee member on F&O has access to the information she needs concerning the sole source letter. And in fact, I move to table this item.
Second.
Okay, there's no discussion? Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Ms. Cologne?
Yes.
Mr. Musser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Item is tabled. Thank you.
Next, I move that we approve items 10.03, 04, 05, 06, and 07, all related to the final snow removal bills.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Downer?
Yes, I just really wanted to bring the awareness that today we will be saying yes to $1 million in snow removal, where we've actually had the opportunity to look at our privatization, how it has reduced, how the work of our privatization, even just in land, well, I'll just stick to snow removal, reducing the quality and lack of accountability between these corporations, that these vendors, these wealthy vendors that have came into our district to do work. What I have noticed during the whole snow removal was a lack of transparency, a lack of early warning. So I know that privatization is here, but it has increased the costs. It has I don't know if that's my computer doing that. I'm not sure.
We can still hear you.
Okay. Like inflated contracts. There's just a lack of transparency, and which ultimately reduces the amount of availability for public education in its core functions, like our wages, our benefits to support the staff. In regards to all of this privatization, we are in critical times. where we should be carefully weighing the cost and benefits and consideration factors like budget constraints, access to our resources, and long-term financial implications. Yes, bills have to be paid. Yes, they do. But going forward, we need to mitigate the services of the snow and other services that are privatized so we can reduce our costs. And just alone with just this, $1 million, that's a lot of money. It's time for us to stop being reckless. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Downer. Dr. Joyner?
We have to trust the judgment and oversight of the people that we hired to run the district. All I need to know to vote for this or against it is, was the work done? And was it done to the satisfaction of the people who are monitoring it? If the answer is yes, we certainly have to pay people for work done. If it wasn't, and some of those issues that we experienced earlier, then that's a problem. And does our contract protect us from shoddy work? And then maybe in some instances, not really being truthful about who shows up, how many show up. And I would have to know from the superintendent and her staff if all those questions can be answered. If they can be answered, I can vote for it. But I would also be cautious in the next go round. And do we have documented evidence that they did the work, that they did it to our satisfaction, and that they were truthful in identifying the personnel required to do the work? Do we find any evidence of wrongdoing or anything like that? Because she's making a very serious point, and I don't think anybody would disagree with it, because we have had problems there. We're gonna have to work out this privatization thing, but that's not the issue at hand right now. The issue at hand is, did they do the work? Did they do it to our satisfaction? And if so, we have to pay them.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner.
So I need an answer.
Thank you. Dr. Negron?
Yes, I want to share some of because those are great questions, and I completely agree with the comments that are being made. And to address the fact that we were making sure this year that we were following up, looking at the work that was being performed, and the work was not done to the satisfaction. That's why we had to call people back on the day off to say, no, you got to come back because you still need to do more plowing. I personally participated in some of that work, and I had asked the team now in this final round of invoices to double check to make sure that in those situations when they were being called back, that we were not being charged for the callback. They scrutinized those invoices. So that's why I'm confident that what we're paying for now is the work that was done. And I continue to say that we have learned a lot about these contractors, and it is informing the new RFP that we have to put together for snow contracting in the coming year. I also want to recall conversations that happened this year, even when we presented the first allotment for snow removal. I believe we said we're asking for this amount, knowing that that was the amount that we had in the budget, knowing and being very transparent that we knew that amount was not going to be enough. So I just wanted to make sure that I would be able to provide those answers to your questions, Dr. Joyner.
Dr. Joyner, then Mr. Wilcox.
And you've answered them. What I do want to say though, that there is a statement in the legal profession that says justice delayed is justice denied. And you can actually extrapolate that and use it when you hire people to do work for you. Work not done well initially, in a sense, is work denied, because you have to have the work done in time for people to get into the building safely. And if they had to do do-overs, then that technically puts people at risk. So what I would urge us to do, whatever company that was liable for that we be very careful about them going forward, and that we have airtight contracts so that there's a penalty for saying you did something that you didn't do. And the only reason you went back is because you got caught. That's what it sounds like. But I have trust and confidence in you and the staff to deal with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Thank you, Dr. Negron. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes, I'll just say that I will be voting in support of this tonight for the various reasons that have been mentioned, which also matches what we've heard in F&O. I do, I mean, I had to shovel more snow this year. More snow means more snow removal costs. That's just the nature of it. I do look forward to hearing what the district's plans are for next year, which possibly could include spending the $500,000 on equipment so that some staff could also do snow removal. And if that could be factored into it, as well as some of the other plans that Mr. Carter had mentioned that I'm hoping and have faith that the district will be following up in. So, thank you.
Thank you. I did also ask at the meeting a related question around when the contractors were brought back in to do work that they had not done correctly, were we paying for that additional work? And the answer is no, because the payment is by snow events. So if they have to come back 5 times, we don't necessarily pay in addition to that. And I think, you know, your point is true that there are other costs associated with not doing it correctly the first time. Ms. Downer. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's very, well, I heard that, but it's extremely low. Do you want to try?
I'm buffering.
Oh, you're buffering. Well, go ahead and talk while you're buffering. I heard that.
Okay, I just wanted to I guess, Mr. Wilcox had actually said, I have not seen the mitigation plan from Mr. Carter. I'm not gonna let it go. So I'm just sending just a message to the school system that I'm not gonna let it go. So I'll be looking for that, please. Sooner the better, because $1 million and no SB 1511 right now, it's not good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Downer. Other discussion? Thank you. Seeing none, we will vote. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
No.
Ms. Cologne, I believe left. Mr. Musser?
Abstain.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries.
May I continue?
Yes, please, Mr.
All right,
Wilcox.
thank you. Next, I move that we table the 3 memorandum of understanding so the work can continue on the data sharing agreements.
I second. We will vote. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Mr. Musser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries.
And finally, I move that we approve the 2 abstracts, the remaining 3 agreements, the 3 amendments, 2 purchase orders, and 2 remaining change orders.
I second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we will vote. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Mr. Musser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Wilcox?
No, sir.
Thank you. Next, we have the students report. Mr. Musser?
Okay, next one.
So I'm going to first off by talking a little bit about the public comments we heard. Cutting arts teachers, arts faculty. It's going to be an incredible hit to our schools. Cutting librarians and media specialists are going to be a massive hit to our schools. I remember for all the years I've been in HPS since kindergarten, Miss Hart, my librarian at Worthington Hooker, she was amazing. She fueled my love for reading. She introduced me to books, and I just got to know her, and she was great. In Wilbur Cross, Miss McMullen continued my love for reading. She helped me facilitate interest in poetry and literature, American literature. 2 days ago, she recommended to me Catcher in the Rye, which I'm currently reading now, and then Walden's Pond, or Walden, sorry. And arts and like music, Mr. Teichman, he leads an amazing band, a jazz band that I go to see often. That's amazing. I love the samba. They also have an amazing marching band, which I see a lot. I always go to their parades. And I think Crimson Thunder, which is a band of drums that are there at every tailgate when I am doing an event for student council, from basketball tournaments to more. Arts and music are an essential part of student culture, and that goes without saying. They're there to lift school spirit up. They're there to give students something to do, and they're part of our identity, whether or not we participate in them actively or not. And that's all for now. For our students report, and also the Bio City. Those two students who came up here and courageously spoke about what I feel was an injustice done to them. These students are amazing. I play with them on the Wilbur Cross chess team, both incredibly intelligent students who aren't given the chance to participate in this amazing program because they're doing quite literally what the district is telling them to do, which is taking Algebra 2 in junior year. The only reason I could have taken, I took Algebra 2 in junior year is because I decided to stack up on my Algebra 2, or stack up on Algebra 2 and Geometry my sophomore year. And that was only because I wanted to take calculus in time for senior year. But not knowing about BioCity, and this is a new program, I just feel like it's unfair to these students, and it's unfair to the fact that only 2 schools, I think you could really be eligible, coming from 2 middle schools, you could really be eligible for taking these programs. One of them being Worthington Hooker, which, as you know, is, serves a very economically advantaged group of students already. These students who came and spoke up represent a population at Wilbur Cross that I am incredibly proud of, who, despite language barriers, continue to strive every single day and came up here to speak. And we should give them these opportunities. I believe in equity and a fair chance for everyone, and I really feel like this barrier, the simple Algebra 2 class, stopping these kids from taking a program that would give them college level credits to save them money on their degree in the future and to open more doors, I feel like it's a disservice to what we stand for as an institution of education. And finally, my presentation. So on the 25th of Friday, we had a citywide student council meeting. We discussed the impact of March 19th. 80 students went up to the citywide, or 80 students went up to Hartford to testify in favor of SB 1511. And we were mainly just doing this to see gauging what students felt after the rally. And many students felt empowered. It was really good to hear that. And many of them immediately wanted to do another day of action. In fact, when we went around asking if they would want to do another day of action, 43 students, which is over half of the students who attended, wanted to do another trip to the state capitol. We further discussed threats to education, both locally and federally. For example, as you heard, the most recent budget cuts which is like at the time I thought it was 200, but it's a lot lower than that, or at least significantly lower than that. And we also discussed federal attacks on education. More importantly, Title I money being withheld and programs like Head Start being shut down. Next slide, please. So afterwards, we discussed ways for students to become more involved with citywide student council, with citywide meetings and organizing. Because at the moment, we only have 3 main leaders, me, Janali, and Abdullah Ali, which is kind of like our secretary. So we're trying to expand it to graphic designers for our posters and for our infographics that we post on Instagram discussing policies and things of that nature. And we're also asking for organizers and people who would like to give speeches at citywide meetings. So it's not just us. So we have more students participating. And we sent out a survey. Around 45 students said they want to participate more in citywide student council. And afterwards, we later notified them via text message about our first meeting on April 30th at 5:30. Next slide, please. Lastly, back in November, as part of an icebreaker, we asked students what values they had that were most important to education and to New Haven Public and to a school like New Haven Public Schools. And after they wrote those values, they made a symbol based off those values. And later on, we voted, which was voted this month on a logo for Citywide Student Council. And this is now the official logo for Citywide Student Council after a Democratic vote, yeah. And that's all for now.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments, discussion for Mr. Moser on his report and presentation? I have one. A lot of the things you said stood out to me. And one thing in particular, you talked about expanding the leadership of those involved, that you currently have 3, you two, someone who serves as a secretary. And I think you named graphic designers, organizers, people who can give speeches. What stood out to me was just looking at the additional ways that people can lead and serve based on the strategies that you put forward in terms of being able to communicate more with the student group, being able to increase communication between the students and the staff, not the staff, but the students and the board, and then also increasing communication and representation towards the Capitol. Just kind of brilliant and thoughtful because while students did raise their hands to say that they wanted to be more involved in student council, they didn't necessarily raise their hands to say they wanted to lead the effort. But it sounds like you helped people to maybe self-identify how they could become involved and do additional work that's critical to the mission that you put forward. That just stood out to me as one thing that is very transformative. And I look forward to just the results of that.
Yeah, appreciate those comments, but yeah, sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. Just basically, from the last like 2 months as student representative, I really felt like I've learned that you do really need a solid base of people to communicate with. When we were organizing to go to the state capitol, I had over 16 organizers from the 9 different schools, and I was in touch with them daily. And it was the only reason why we could get such a large turnout. And also, on that note, you know, I feel like citywide student council should become like a place in which we can gather student frustration and also like people who are interested in, you know, the civic system, and make it a machine in which students can have days of collective action and, you know, fight for the things that we care about. And so the only way I feel like we can do this effectively is to have a good, you know, a good system in which everyone can be involved. And that doesn't have to just be speaking and leading, you know, behind the scenes research and graphic design. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. One more question. When you said that you sent a survey and 45 students raised their hands to say they wanted to participate in the council meetings, how did you do this survey? Was this survey to the schools and you got additional participation? Like, what was your mechanism?
So this was actually during the meeting. So
Okay.
They didn't raise their hands. We put a zip code, a QR code up, and we said, please do this survey we do this like at the start of every meeting. But I don't think we did at the start of this meeting, just because we had our lovely mayor visit us, and Leslie Plateau visit us as well. And they were giving speeches. So I think we did around the middle of the meeting. But yeah, we basically put up a QR code. We said, please enter the survey. The students put their you know, their information and indicated which one they wanted to do.
Great.
Oh, and our amazing superintendent came by as well. Of course, of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you for leading. Mr. Wilcox.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to thank you for your leadership in this, and for John Lee as well, as you're organizing students and planning for the future, because I think that a lot of this is going to outlast your graduation and hers. And so thank you for that. You all deserve a fully funded, equitably and fully funded school district, and all the teachers, coaches, security, custodial, even administrators, principals, et cetera, that comes with that. So thank you for your work on fighting for that and trying to, I think from what I've seen, when students testify at these types of meetings, it makes it more real, where people like us, when we're testifying at those meetings, we're just more board members asking for money. And so it's a good reminder of what exactly we're talking about that can get lost in dollar signs on spreadsheets as people try to think about what's politically palatable rather than what's really needed in a rich state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mosa. Next on our agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Negron.
Thank you. And Assistant Superintendent's going to be helping me to put up a brief presentation. I want to take this opportunity today to continue to give you updates related to the budget. So as you're well aware, we're facing a budget shortfall next year of $23.2 million. That's more than 10% of our budget, and that's without adding services. Next slide, please. And all of this is happening as we're trying to implement our path to excellence. Next slide, please. I've been referencing the fiscal cliff with the end of the ARPESR dollars, which is now here. We have taken sometimes painful steps to deliver services in the most cost-effective manner possible. You may recall some of the details of that effort that we engaged in last year and earlier this year. We reorganized our early childhood program. We made drastic cuts to our summer school program, as well as after school and spring break activities. We reduced the number of elementary school teaching positions to align better with lower student enrollment. We made corresponding reductions in the number of speech therapists, psychologists, and counselors, as well as substitutes that we have done last year. All of that came at a cost of $6 million. So we have been trying to cut, knowing that this day was going to come. Next slide. Amidst the challenges that we are now facing, I want to reiterate that we're fortunate to have the support of our local leaders. Over the past 5 years, the city of New Haven has increased its local contribution to the New Haven Public Schools by over 50%. And if the City Board of Alders approves Mayor Eliker's budget proposal for next year, which includes $5 million, and if the state legislature's appropriations committee proposed budget, which is also a step in the right direction, is approved, and again, I want to send my heartfelt gratitude to our New Haven State delegation and the members of the Appropriations Committee. If that is approved, that will bring another 1.7 million. That is a big if, because the governor still has to approve that. So if we take our $23.2 million gap, we minus that 5 million and that 1.7, we still have to find $16.5 million. So where do we go next? Just want to make sure that the audience that was here earlier understands. I am not trying to cut things that I know are important. As a public educator myself for 30 years, I know the importance of every role, the importance of every teacher, the importance of every coach, the importance of library media specialists, the importance of the art, music, everything that was named today. Public, hear me out. I'm not looking to cut. I don't want to cut anything. We are already underfunded. My job as your superintendent is to fill that gap. I have to provide direction. Where do we go next? So I am saying, if we have a $16.5 million gap, where am I going to go next? Where am I going next? I'm going to cut 42 vacancies. Do we need those vacancies? Yes, we do. You already heard that we cut 6 million last year. We need those vacancies, but I have to go somewhere because I have to do the math. I'm going to cut 2 million in vacancies. Am I there? I'm still not there. I got to do some more cutting. Where am I going next? I'm going to cut $1.5 million in contract services that we need. We're not just giving out contracts for the fun of it. It's all for the resources that are desperately needed in this district. That is where I'm going next. Do the math. I am still short $13 million. Where do I go next? Where do I go next? Okay, let me cut all after school. If I cut after school, I don't need security and custodians in buildings after school. So I can save $1.2 million with that cut of the $300 in reduction of after school programming. And then I looked at all my part-timers, looking at things that could do the least impact on instruction. I grab another $400K. Do the math. I still got to find $11.3 million. Where else am I going to go? Notice that I didn't go straight to teachers. I didn't go straight. Let me cut the arts. Let me cut music. Let me cut instruction. People, I am not a business person. 30 years of being in the trenches with you. 30 years. Where do I have to go next? What else is in our budget? Our full-time teaching staff. I have no other choice than to cut and do layoffs. Did I say nothing as central office. I have never said nothing as central office. But all of a sudden, the narrative today, you're cutting everything in the classroom, nothing as central office. Never said that. We talked about how media center specialists support to mitigate facts from myth. Let's talk about facts from myth. Everything is on the table as I am still trying to run the second largest district in our state. We talked about freezes. I heard about freezes that I wasn't even here, but I heard about freezes today. I heard narrative today. Freezes to teachers, freezes to everybody else. Big people making big money, they didn't take freezes. I want to address that. Every member of cabinet that had a contract renewal last year took a freeze. You hired me and gave me a contract for 3 years. I took a freeze. I don't publicize it. I don't go making that stuff public. I am getting real tonight because we're dealing with tough decisions that have to be made. And as the leader of this district, I have to tell you what we are up against. And that's what I am doing today. So we can talk about facts versus myth. We are all in the trenches. We've all been in the trenches. That is what I have to cut. And notice when I cut, do you see my math? Even with those painful cuts, I'm still $1 million short. What have we been doing for months? I bet you see me on TV every day. My colleagues are like, have you lost your mind? And I'm like, yes, I have lost my mind because I am going to keep using my voice like I've done for 30 years. I'm going to keep being vocal about the haves and the have-nots. I'm going to keep calling out our governor because we're desperate for the funding that we need. Years of underfunding. But this is the time as a district to come together and stay together in the work that we are doing. This is not the time to be finger pointing at one another because we're in it together. That's what we're up against. And like somebody mentioned today, we haven't given up. We still have 6 weeks to continue our advocacy. Love hearing from people today. They're sending letters to their legislators. They're calling. Love what they're doing in the effort. We're going to continue to do that work. We need the state to hear us because I highly doubt that the city of New Haven is going to say, Board of Education, don't touch that blue category. Don't touch it. Avoid all those layoffs. We're going to give you 11.3 million more. If the city of New Haven wants to give you 11.3 million more, we'll take it. We won't make the cuts. You see how I have prioritized. But I would argue that the city of New Haven cannot continue to take on that burden. They have done everything that they can already. The state has got to do more. If my passion offends anybody today, I extend to you my apologies. But I told you when you hire me, I am going to continue to lead by my core values. I'm going to continue to fight for kids in urban districts because that's all I know. I will continue to fight, but I need the narrative to be the correct narrative. And I'm glad that I have the independent here tonight to make sure that the record is set straight. With that, I conclude my update.
Thank you, Dr. Negron. Any discussion? Mr. Wilcox?
Yes, just wanted to say thank you, Dr. Negron, and thank you for presenting the true dire picture of what we're looking at. We had cuts last year, cuts this year, and potentially incredibly painful cuts coming next year. And just need to remind folks, as a Board of Education, it's in Connecticut statutes, you can look it up. We are not legally allowed to spend money that the city does not allocate to us. If we need to spend more money, we have to go to the city and they have to allocate more, or we're not legally allowed to spend it. The city has been supporting us and increasing the amount of money they put into education at the cost to the New Haven taxpayers, of which we all are, whether we are owning a house or renting a house, we're paying those taxes. While I would be happy to pay more taxes to New Haven if that's what is required, not everybody is able to do that. I'm not really able to do that either, but I do what I have to do. So this is incredibly painful, but we're not legally allowed to have what we are not allocated. So I want to also thank the Independent for showing the per pupil funding information that really kind of shows the districts with the most need in the state don't have the same amount of funding. The districts that don't have the need have all the funding. And that's because they're able to fund it through their own local taxes, because it's a lot easier to get money out of mansions than it is to get money out of much smaller, more modest homes. We just don't have a lot of mansions. Got a few in New Haven. We don't have as many as others. So I want to just thank you for showing that information. If you think about it as a meal, if you have to feed people and you have a large amount of money per person, that's going to be a nice meal. But if you have to feed people on a small amount per person, it's a meager meal. We're serving a meager meal. So, and just as you look at that chart that the superintendent laid out, just there's a lot of implications in all of that. We've heard a lot about the implications about librarians, music teachers, et cetera. I'm a librarian. I could go on and on about that. But just another little thing that might be hidden away in some of that information. If there's no overtime for security and no overtime for custodial, that means there's no access to buildings after hours. That hits the community organizations across the board. It costs money. It costs hundreds of dollars an hour for every hour that building's open. Increased heating and cooling costs and increased security costs. And that's just another one of those implications. That's what's there. It's not only not enough people to manage the schools, not enough people to teach in the schools and do all the other services necessary. It's also just access to the building for clubs, churches, organizations. That's the kinds of things we're looking at, but we're not legally allowed to spend what we do not have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. Ms. Downer, then Mayor Elicker.
Oh, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I got a question on our slides. Now we're gonna talk about facts and myth, okay? Today, respectfully, I see custodial overtime, and I'm not sure if that's from Local 271 that's being cut. Because right now, the fact is that we do pay 7 million to ABM and SJ services, but yet we did not have a mitigation to mitigate them. And then I see part-time instructions. Is that our paras? So maybe you can answer that. Who are these people that is getting cut? That would help me determine if the money and the resources, because right now I see $7 million that could have been mitigated back. And I'm not sure if that is even being considered, if the acting listening is on right now, because that is a problem here. Our schools look like crap. This is our learning environment here. Are those custodials Local 271? Are those part-time instructors? Is that para? So who is really being affected here? Because I know for sure, since we're talking fact versus myth. 7 million goes out in custodial between the facilities manager and everything else, with no oversight. So I need to know who these people are. That's all I'm asking, respectfully. Perhaps the district could actually answer that. Who are the custodial overtime and the security? These are our people. I didn't see anything as far as our vendors being cut. These are our people. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. So I need an answer. Who are these custodial overtime? Who are these part-time instruction people? Maybe I need some understanding on this. And maybe perhaps we can answer that tonight. We got $7 million on the table between ABM and SJ Services, who do a terrible job on our school. I will not buff them up today. So if everybody wants to buff them, go ahead. I'm not. So perhaps respectfully, Dr. Negron, could you please tell me who these people are?
Ms. Downer, does that complete your question? I can work to
Yes,
get a
it does.
response.
I need to know those people that she mentioned in her report that's going to be cut, the part-time, the 1.5 million, the part-time instruction people. Who are they? Who's the custodial overtime?
Thank you, Ms. Downer. Dr. Negron, do we have the information?
Yes, happy to share that. To clarify first, if you look at the chart, when you mention how we cut contracts, yes, we are proposing 1.5 million cuts to contracts. So there's that particular question, your answer. Also, when we speak about overtime, we are saying that every time someone is running an after-school program, meaning somebody has to stay extra hours to clean the building, it means nobody stays extra hours because we would not need them. So whether, even if it was here John C. Daniels, let's say that John C. Daniels was going to run an after-school program, there would be custodians scheduled to clean up after that after-school program. It means that we would not be asking anyone to come and provide those hours. So that's an example of how the after-school goes with the custodian. Part-time staff, that does not mean our para-educators. Our para-educators, most of them, if not all of them, are full-time employees. So that has nothing to do with our part-time staff. Let's say that a school says, I would like to hire a part-time person to come and run small groups during the day. Within their budget, that may have been approved so that they're able to hire a part-time staff person to be able to do that. What we are saying is that we will be more careful now because we know we're going to be saying a lot of no's as it relates to part-time staff requests. So that is contracts, part-time staff, overtime. So that's the idea as we go into next year's budget mitigation, because I am speaking about how I'm going to find the $23.2 million gap. And I share that with you tonight, respectfully, Ms. Downer.
So can you
Thank
just,
you, Dr. Negron. Ms. Downer and then Mayor Elicker.
I'm sorry, can she just clarify who the custodial overtime is? I don't know if, because sometime when we have the PAL comes to the school, PAL program, which takes about over 1,000 students, where they could be on these streets doing just about anything. So you mean to tell me that the school won't be clean and ready to go for instruction once they come through? And I mean, I don't understand what this is. I really don't. But I'm still stuck on the fact that the security is our people. Are you talking about our security guards with their overtime?
So if we go with that example of PAL, and again, I am a supportive of PAL and for what they do and the amazing work that they do. But under this situation, it would mean that anyone who puts into use our buildings, that we would have to really screen that and say, can't do that because we're gonna shut down the building because we're not gonna be paying after school cleanups to happen so that we're paying our overtime for our custodians and our overtime to our security guards. So like Mr. Wilcox mentioned, when we talk about cutting after school programming and cutting overtime, it has all kinds of implications for the partnerships that we have with our community.
Thank you, Dr. Negron. Mayor Elicker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nobody wants to cut any of this stuff. We need to go in the other direction. We need more funding. We need more after-school programs. We need more teachers in our schools. We need more social workers. We need more guidance counselors. We need more librarians. We need to pay, frankly, our contracts better so that we're more competitive and can attract better contractors, better people to clear the snow, better people to manage our buildings. We need all of those things. Nobody wants to cut any of this. And I hope that is very clear to everyone in the room. And I hope the people that were here earlier on also understand this and are able to watch the recording or read an article later on. Nobody wants to cut. Dr. Negron is doing the responsible thing by saying currently what is on the table, what the state legislature is deciding to do is creating a massive gap in our budget. Because just like your costs at home, our costs go up too. And to do the same thing, we need millions and millions of additional dollars. Dr. Negron is sounding the alarm. And the focus shouldn't be on this group here. And frankly, I have raised, in the past 5 years I've been mayor, I've raised taxes effectively every year. We've had revals where the mill rate's gone down, but people's taxes gone up. I've raised taxes effectively every year. And the governor has not raised taxes once. In fact, he's cut taxes. And so the governor is putting on municipalities back the responsibility, as opposed to the state actually taking responsibility for these layoffs. And so we, as a team, have been killing ourselves to push the state legislature, to push the governor, and you've seen it in the press. 80 students, thanks to Mr. Musser and Ms. Colon, came up to the Capitol to testify. We've had press conference after press conference. We've met with our delegation. I've met with the governor. I led the charge with 52 mayors and first selectmen to write an op-ed that was published in Hearst Media saying that we need more funding. Like, we're killing ourselves to get more funding. And we need the focus to be at the state. We've got 6 weeks left until the end of the legislative session, and we need people to tell the governor to loosen the fiscal guardrails. There's an arbitrary restriction on how much money the state can provide to communities, an arbitrary restriction. The governor needs to change that, or these will be Lamont layoffs. None of us want this. None of us want this, but we have to be real with the community about where we're at so the community understands what actions the community needs to take alongside us to make sure that our children get the funding that they deserve for their schools.
Thank you, Mayor Elicker. Yes.
And I want to reiterate that a lot of what we do in schools, what we do in classrooms, what our teachers have to do every day, what our administrators have to do every day, what our central office people have to do every day, our students and our parents. It's mandated by the state, mandated by the federal government, and it's not their place to leave us without the money we need. And I cannot believe that we are not all saying that this responsibility is not on the citizens of New Haven. I pay my taxes. I live in this city for over 30 years, and I refuse to be the only one responsible for what's happening to our children. It has to be a state and federal responsibility, and we need to all unite and have a very united front saying that it's the federal government and the state government that has to afford our students a better situation with our budget. I hope that every teacher that was here will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benitez. Dr. Negron, does that conclude your reports?
Yes, it does, Dr. Yarborough.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the President's Report. Shortly, I'll be sending out possible dates for our board retreat and orientation as we get those possibilities solidified. Any discussion? Seeing none. Dr. Joyner, a teaching and learning.
At the last meeting, I talked about creating a committee on students at risk. And essentially, students are at risk for either social and economic, linguistic challenges, or they're at risk because of factors within themselves. And in some instances, most at-risk students are students who are violent and disruptive. And that was really my big concern because of my own personal experiences and my professional experiences. But when I had the TL meeting last Wednesday, they're already on it. In that what they're doing now is an inventory of all of our programming for all of our students. And I don't want to duplicate work. I've been a teacher. I've been a member of all of the unions you guys talked about. AFT, the UFT, the NEA, and all of those, as well as administrative unions. And like Mayor Elicker, I think we need to point the activity in the right direction. I was also worked with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference as a student. And one of the things that we were taught was to keep your eye on the prize, but also keep your eye on the problem. Because it's in whose best interest to have us being divided and conquered. To be honest with you, a lot of hyperbole we used tonight. And that happens oftentimes when the emotions are high. But I'm going to use a metaphor that I think is apt for this particular time. Our whole city is being pimped. Our entire city is being pimped. And the reason I say that, and typically you don't respond to public comment, but a young person that I have a lot of respect for, Melanie Gallagher, wrote a letter and she laid it out. That when you have a city where 56% of only less than 50% of the properties are taxable, then that puts the burden on individual homeowners. And we have all these tax exempt institutions that benefit not only the state, but the nation and the world. And we also have a person that is more concerned about all that surplus that he's saved, and he hasn't saved anything. That's our money. He didn't come to the governor's office with that money. That's our taxpayers' money. So anything that they do is a reallocation of money that we send to the state and federal government. When I was working in New York, somebody talked about the bonus that we got from the Bush administration. I said, that wasn't their money in the first place. That was your money. They only gave you back a portion of what you donated through your taxes. And if we want to pay our teachers well, and we should, if we want to pay our leaders well, and we should, if we want to pay all of those people well, that is what it takes to build a circle around students at risk, because almost every student in this school district is at risk, except for a small few. But they're at risk because of language challenges. They're at risk because of poverty. They're at risk because of unsupported medical care. They're at risk because of mental illnesses. That's a real deal. And so the reason that I wanted to do something for students at risk was because, one, I want to make sure that teachers and their peers are protected from students that may become violent. And there's too much of that in our society. But the most violent thing that has been done has been to withhold funding from children who born and all their families want is a fair chance. That's violence. And so if we're going to keep our eye on the prize, we also have to keep our eye on the problem and not blame each other for stuff that has nothing to do with us. Somebody made a decision to have X amount of money in surplus and also made a decision to violate a law that they passed that guaranteed a certain amount of payment in lieu of taxes to cities like ours. And they breached that contract. And the question is, are we going to spend our energy pointing the fingers at each other? Or are we going to spend our energy pointing ourselves in the right direction to essentially say to the powers that be? And I know our elected representatives want to do something because I'm in contact with them as well, but I don't broadcast that either. But we have to let Pharaoh Lamont understand that that cannot go on. And it's up for all of us to do that. In fact, he shouldn't be welcome in this city if he decides to run for a second term. He shouldn't even be welcome in our city if he does not do anything about this. And as far as Yale is concerned, they have to do more as well. Because unless we do that, if you read Melody's paper, she laid it out. And that's what we've been saying on this board for as long as I can remember. That we are being taken advantage of. When somebody gets out of prison, you know where they drop them off, Chief? There you go. I don't care where they're from. When you see all these homeless folks around here, you think all of them are people that grew up in New Haven? And how can we say that we care about democracy and freedom and the greatest good for the greatest number when we have all this money laying around and we're basically telling all the people in New Haven, let them eat cake? So if there's one thing that we've learned over the last several years is that students at risk are more expensive to educate. We need emergency rooms, the equivalent of emergency rooms, just like hospitals. They're more expensive to educate. How can you claim to want to believe in reading and developing one's mind when you don't have libraries? And I'm telling you right now, you know that song, "A DJ Saved My Life"? Some of you are too young for that. But if I can show you my yearbook, I'm in the band, I'm in the chorus, I'm on the football team, and my librarian, Miss Hazel Ligon, said that I had read every book in the library. And that's the only way I could get out of poverty, to be a little smarter and to work harder than people who were born with a silver spoon. So what does that have to do with student at risk? It has everything to do with students at risk. We should be able to draw a circle around the entire system and say, there's no trespassing in here. You can't take anybody out of here. And we start with schools and classrooms. But you also have to understand that all of our certified staff are important. They're links in the chain. And if you look at administrative salaries in New Haven, they're still not what they are in other places. And a lot of our administrators work 7 days a week, just like a lot of our teachers work 7 days a week. I check papers on Sunday nights. I gave tests on Friday. I wanted the kids to have their papers, their corrected exam back on that Monday. So if you're teaching writing and you got to grade 120 essays, it's a lot of work. But you don't get compensated for that. Like Melanie, I spent my money on my children that were in my classroom. We bought winter coats. We sent them a little money when they went away to college. And we still do. So, getting back to the committee, I'm going to give the TL committee time to develop an inventory of all of our programming. And everything we do has a price tag. And then I will work with that committee to see what we can do about the students that are at greatest risk and hopefully have a better result. And I was motivated to do this by a number of responses I've gotten from teachers when they feel like they're afraid sometimes to face their own classroom because of the conduct of certain students. We can't allow that. There's a threshold of behavior that we cannot allow, period. And that should stop now. And then we should try to bring kids in that are suffering and having problems and say, listen, we're gonna help you every way we can, but you have to match our commitment. So that concludes my report. But don't forget, we're being pimped.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Any discussion? Dr. Joyner, Facility Naming Committee report?
We're pretty with that. I've been in conversations with Bob Lamel, and I can't wait. And the family of Sal Verderam, two great educators, that we're gonna dedicate the floor of the Floyd Little Athletic Center after, and it won't cost us anything. It's gonna be in the cost of construction. And I think the superintendent and I have figured out a way to have a sign for Mrs. Pappas, but we won't be able to get that until September. So.
Thank you. Any discussion for the Facilities Naming Committee? Seeing none, next, Head Start report, Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you. So a couple things to report to the board related to Head Start. First off, enrollment. We're at 99% enrollment, 8 vacancies and some placements coming in from the waiting list. So remote enrollment has remained strong all year. We also have the Focus Area 1 results. As you recall, Focus Area 1 takes a look at 6 or 7 different aspects of the way Head Start operates. And there was, out of that, only one area of concern in one of those areas that it was looked at, and that is on improving the efforts to obtain oral health determination from a healthcare professional for all children in the prescribed time frame. The program is addressing this. I think it's a new student in Head Start needs to be seen by a dental professional within 30 days. And so there wasn't full amount of that. It also involves parents being able to schedule that. And so the district does have people that are working on that. So to come into compliance with that, the other thing I need to mention is there was something called a RAN review, which is basically an after action report on 2 deficiencies that the district had to report to the Head Start program. One was an inappropriate release where a bus driver and bus monitor did not follow policies for students' release and did not take appropriate action steps when the location of drop off was in question. A student basically was incorrectly dropped off at a daycare program by the bus company and not where they were supposed to be dropped off. The student was not out of supervision by adults, but this is a major problem. The second issue was an incident where a teacher had grabbed a child by the back of the neck and pushed them towards their cot. For this case, although the case was accepted and investigated by DCF, it did not rise to their level of abuse and neglect. The district is, though, conducting an internal investigation for that individual, and that outcome's pending. Head Start staff in the district are conducting root cause analysis, risk assessment, creating action plans for correcting those deficiencies. And this will definitely include our Director of Transportation, as this also involves the bus company and getting answers from the bus company. So all of the information that comes out of this is going to have to, like how the district will move forward, has to be submitted to Head Start. So more information will be presented at our next subcommittee meeting, which is on May 15th. Representatives from our transportation and HR departments will be invited to that meeting as well, since it also involves them. And there is much more information on this posted with the meeting minutes from our April 17th meeting. And I will also have an update at our upcoming Board of Ed meeting after the May 15th meeting.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions if I can.
Thank you. Any discussion? Thank you. Seeing none. Citywide School Building Committee report and F&O reports.
So citywide, no report, as our next meeting is a week from this Thursday on May 8th. And for finance and operations, we did meet last week. In addition to the action items, there was an update on operations related climate resolutions progress, and also an update on the part-time custodial RFP and SJ services.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. Governance report, Dr. Benitez.
Yes, good evening, board members and the public. Our next meeting is tomorrow, where we will focus on personal devices, something that is very important for all our educators. And just a reminder that we will be submitting suspension, expulsion policy and civility policy for a second reading and board approval at our next meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Benitez. Any discussion?
I just want to commend her for doing such a wonderful job. Ever since you've been on the board, you've been getting it right.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Thank you, Dr. Benitez. The Food Service Task Group report, for myself, the Food Gap team was operational this past school spring break, and I look forward to hearing how that went for our district families. Any discussion? Seeing none, we move to the next item, executive session. I guess I'll read these motions. So motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 1-206B, discussion concerning contractual agreements of public officers in the positions of Viviana Camacho, Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, School Improvement, and Christina De Negra, Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, School Improvement. And the other motion is a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 1-206D and E for discussion of the selection of a site for the lease for adult education, and 1-210B10 for discussion which would result in the disclosure of attorney-client privileged communication. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. For discussion, who should join us?
For the second item, we might need Principal Bonora and Attorney Alexiadis.
Okay, for the second item, Principal Bonora and Attorney Alexiadis. See no further discussion, we will vote. Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Mr. Moser?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. So we are now in executive session. The board has returned from executive session. Ms. Downer, you can hear us online?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great, thank you. No votes were taken. I have a motion. I motion that we would approve the lease for the adult education building, and that the board president be given authority to sign the lease.
Second.
Thank you. That motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Benitez. Ms. Downer?
Yes. I'm buffering.
Okay, I heard you say yes. Thank you. You're buffering.
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
Students here. Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries. I move that we approve the contractual agreements for the positions Viviana Camacho, Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, School Improvement, and Christina Denegri, Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Leadership and School Improvement.
Second.
Thank you. That has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Dr. Benitez?
I believe these are two important positions. I understand that we are facing difficulties. However, our schools, our principals, our teachers, and every parent who has children in New Haven Public Schools deserve to have an assistant superintendent who is supporting their school. It is important to know that at any given time, these people are supporting over 10 schools, more closer to 14 schools each. And it is something that we need to afford to our children.
Mr. Chair, the surrounding districts have less schools than the scope of responsibility of the two people we're hiring tonight. So I think in agreement with Dr. Benitez, that they're certainly necessary. That they don't make the salaries of superintendents in surrounding districts that have 10, 9, 6 schools. And they work, for the most part, 7 days a week, depending on what's going on in schools. So I think this is a good investment.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Mayor Elicker?
I just add one quick thing. I think there's a misperception that we have too many administrators in our public schools, and the reality is we have fewer administrators than the state average. And I think that in such a large district, it's critical to have a certain number of administrators to support our principals. And we used to have 5 assistant superintendents, now we have 3. And it's crucial that we ensure that these 2 superintendent positions continue to remain in place so that they can support our principals that are supporting our students.
Thank you, Mayor Elicker. Mr. Wilcox?
Yeah, I'm gonna vote to support this as well. And one thing I just wanted to mention is that I also think it's good that this also includes salary freeze for the first year of the 2-year contract, which matches what other senior administrators did in our previous year. So I think that's not only fair, but it also, you know, times we do have budget deficits, and so we do need to have these positions in place. But I also think that that is something that also helps support that. I think, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. Seeing no further discussion, we will vote. Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. That motion carries. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
That motion's been moved and seconded. No discussion. Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.